After cutting off my narcissistic mother, I endured a year of guilt trips and smear campaigns. But through therapy, healthy relationships, and time, I reclaimed my identity. Growing up, I was always the easy one. Straight A student, quiet, helpful, didn't talk back. My mom used to brag about me to her friends like I was a trophy she earned. But when the door closed, everything changed. If I forgot to empty the dishwasher, silent treatment. If I wanted a day to myself, you're selfish. After all I do for you, I didn't call it narcissism back then. I called it normal. Everyone outside our house loved her. She was bubbly and charismatic and always had snacks for neighborhood kids and remembered birthdays, and gave the best advice at PTA meetings. If I ever hinted that something felt off, people would say, "Your mom is so sweet. She'd do anything for you. You're lucky to have her," so I believed them and doubted myself. In college, I started noticing how other people's parents acted. They'd call once a week. Mine called 3 times a day. They visited with notice. Mine showed up unannounced. They sent care packages. My mom sent bills for reimbursement for things she bought me years ago. When I brought up space, she'd say, "I guess you don't need a mother anymore." She weaponized guilt like a scalpel. When I introduced my now partner to her, she gave him a tight smile and then proceeded to ignore him for the entire dinner. Later, she said, "He seems weak. Doesn't look like he can take care of you." When I said I didn't need someone to take care of me, she replied, "That's what women say when they settle." It was constant sabotage dressed as just being honest. We got engaged last year. She immediately demanded to help plan the wedding. I said I wanted something small and intimate, just close friends and family. She exploded. "After everything I did for you, this is how you repay me? Excluding me?" She wanted to invite her friends, wear white, give a speech. I told her no. She said, "You'll regret this." And for a while, I believed her. My partner gently pushed me to start therapy. I went in expecting to talk about stress and wedding planning. Instead, my therapist asked questions no one ever had. Why do you feel guilty for saying no? What makes you responsible for her happiness? What would it mean to not answer her calls? I left the first session shaking, but I went back and kept going. For her birthday, I sent a card and flowers, didn't visit in person. We were swamped with work. She didn't call to thank me, she sent a single text. "Thanks. Guess that's all I'm worth now." That night, she called my aunt crying, saying I was pulling away and probably brainwashed by my boyfriend. My aunt called me and said, "Just talk to her, she's your mom." But I was starting to realize I didn't owe her access to me. I didn't call, not right away. I waited. 3 days later, my mom posted a Facebook status. Funny how people forget who was there for them when it mattered. Ungrateful. I didn't comment. So she sent me an email. A long one. It started, "I don't know who you are anymore," and ended with, "I hope you're happy with your new family." I sat at my laptop and cried. But not because she was right, because I finally saw it clearly. That night, I wrote a letter, not to send, just to say it. "You taught me love was conditional. That saying no meant punishment. That my job was to make you feel good about yourself, no matter what it cost me. I'm done playing that role." I saved it in a folder labeled Freedom. It felt like drawing a line in the sand, one I wasn't going to step back over. I didn't block her, but I stopped responding. No calls, no texts, no liking her posts out of obligation, just silence. At first, she blew up my phone, then came the panic texts. "Are you okay?" Then the guilt. "I don't deserve this." Then finally, silence. Real silence. It was terrifying, and it was the first time in my life I felt peace. The silence didn't last long. One by one, the concerned family members started reaching out. Cousins I hadn't heard from in years, a neighbor, even a family friend who used to babysit me. "Your mom's really hurt. She just wants to talk. Family's too important to throw away." Each message felt like an ambush wrapped in concern, but none of them asked how I was. I started to doubt myself again. Maybe I was being too harsh. Maybe I should just talk to her. Not to make things right, but to calm things down. It spiraled. For a few days. Had trouble sleeping. My therapist called it trauma bonding. She said, "You were trained to feel responsible for her emotions. The absence of chaos doesn't feel peaceful yet. It feels wrong." That sentence cracked something open. We got married in a small ceremony. Just 18 people. Quiet. Beautiful. Safe. I didn't tell my mom, didn't invite her, didn't mention it to anyone who might pass it along. There were no games, no drama, no white dress competition. Just love. For the first time in my life, I was celebrated without conditions. 2 weeks after the wedding, a handwritten letter arrived in our mailbox. I didn't recognize the handwriting until I opened it. It was from her. No congratulations. No joy, just this. "You robbed me of the only moment I waited for since you were born. I hope your new husband enjoys controlling you as much as I did. When you have children, you'll understand what real pain feels like." I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I folded the letter, slid it back into the envelope, and burned it in the sink. I deactivated Facebook. It was a slow death by passive-aggressive posts. My mom tagged me in old photos with captions like, "When she still loved me," or relatives posting cryptic quotes about forgiveness and honoring thy mother. I realized I didn't owe anyone access to me, and that included the curated version of me they thought they knew online. When the noise died down, something else crept in. Emptiness. Who was I without her voice in my head? Without the performative, good daughter mask? Without the constant need to please, appease, minimize, shrink? I didn't know. But for the first time, I was excited to find out. I dreaded it. Thanksgiving, the first one without her. No guilt. Trips. No emotional hostage-taking. No stomping out of the kitchen because someone looked at her the wrong way. We stayed home, made our own dinner, played music, laughed. It felt illegal to be that calm, like I was getting away with something sacred. A mutual friend reached out recently, said she saw my mom at a fundraiser and that she asked about me. I just said, "I hope she's doing well." No. Anger, no rehashing, just a boundary spoken softly but firmly. That's when I realized the anger was fading, not because I forgave her, but because she no longer had power over me. I started making lists of things I believed because of her and what I believe now. Old belief, love is earned. New belief, love is given freely, or it's not love. Old belief, speaking up is selfish. New belief, silence serves abusers, not peace. Old belief, I am responsible for other people's emotions. New belief, I'm only responsible for how I respond. It wasn't magic. Just practice, every day, a little closer to truth. It's been almost a year. She's still blocked, still out of my life. I don't know what she's doing. I don't need to. Some days I feel grief, some days relief, but mostly I feel quiet. Like my nervous system finally found the volume knob and turned it down. Peace doesn't always come with a parade. Sometimes it just sits beside you in the quiet and says, "You made it. You can rest now." Something shifted after that first year of silence. It wasn't just that I felt calmer. It was that I finally had space to think my own thoughts, to make decisions without wondering how she'd react, to celebrate wins without wondering if she'd somehow make it about her. The emotional static was gone. I could finally hear myself. For a long time, I struggled to trust anyone. Not because of betrayal, but because love, in my world, had always come with conditions, strings, subtle punishments. But my partner never flinched. Every time I braced for conflict, he stayed calm. Every time I apologized for needing something, he'd say, "Why would that bother me? It wasn't fast." But one small moment at a time, I started believing that kindness doesn't always have to be earned. Cutting off my mom meant some people cut me off too. A few cousins. An uncle. a childhood friend who thought I'd gone too far. But I also built something new, friends who showed up without expecting a performance, in-laws who respected my boundaries, a chosen family made up of people who didn't need me to shrink in order to love me. Turns out you can outgrow blood and grow into belonging. It hit me out of nowhere. A dream. My mom was standing in my kitchen, calm and smiling. She said, "I'm proud of you." I woke up in tears, not because I missed her, but because I think some part of me still needed that moment, even if it only came from my own subconscious. It wasn't a sign. It wasn't forgiveness. It was grief, dressed up in a wish. She emailed me. The subject line just said, "Please." I didn't open it. Not out of pettiness, out of protection, because I knew whatever it said would be bait. Guilt. A new role to step into, and I've played every character she wrote for me. I'm done auditioning. Someone once asked, "Would you ever consider talking to her again?" I thought about it, and I realized I could survive contact again, but I'd never thrive in it. I didn't leave because I hated her. I left because I finally loved myself more than I feared her. People always say forgiveness is freeing. I don't know if I believe that. But indifference? That's where the peace really lives. She doesn't occupy space in my head anymore. She's not the villain. In my new life story, she's just someone I used to know. I wrote a letter to myself, age 10. You're not too sensitive. You're not difficult. You're not selfish. The way she treats you isn't love, but one day you'll love yourself loud enough to drown her voice out. And you'll be okay. I cried while writing it, not because it hurt, because it healed. Recently, I stood in the mirror before a job interview, nervous, anxious, and for the first time, I heard a voice in my head that wasn't hers. It was mine, saying, "You've got this, no guilt, no shame." Just quiet confidence. I didn't need her to believe in me. I needed me to believe in me. There wasn't a dramatic finale, nor reunions, just a steady, quiet life. One filled with laughter, boundaries, therapy, chosen family, and a growing list of things I like about myself. I'm not the daughter she wanted, but I'm finally the person I was meant to be, and that's the ending I never thought I'd get.